Welcome back. Tonight, not one, but two data centers are the subject of debate tonight in Franklin County. People there are still talking to the Planning and Zoning Commission about this as we speak. One project is planned off I-44 near Villa Ridge. The other, south of Pacific, now shifting from the city to Franklin County. New at 10, our Jordan Burrell is hearing from residents concerned about the two projects.
Hundreds of people packed into Union High School's gym Tuesday night, sitting shoulder to shoulder as many spoke against two proposed data center projects that could transform rural land into industrial sites in Franklin County.
This meeting is really just a slap in the face to the residents. This issue was already brought up in previous meetings less than 2 months ago, and it was already tabled for 6 months.
Both projects, Gateway Digital Campus and Beltline Energy, would need the county to rezone agricultural land for industrial use. But that's what concerns Sam Dean, who owns a small business in Pacific, and his parents live feet from one of the proposed sites. If the land is rezoned, something industrial could neighbor their property if it's this proposed data center or not.
It's really disheartening and discouraging to see two retired people have that ripped away by 3 commissioners who only see the tax benefits.
One of the landowners for one of the proposed centers was at the meeting asking for the commission's support.
It would be much more detrimental to a lot of people's way of life and to the county if on these two projects, if they were single-family homes.
Others in support mentioning how they believe it would be great for the local economy. A local trades union spokesperson showed up welcoming the developers.
These are thousands of union jobs paying in excess of $100,000 a year. In addition, this creates an opportunity for people to work close to home.
Developers say the project could bring major economic growth, calling it one of the largest opportunities in Franklin County history, promising minimal noise, light, and impact. But for many in the room, those promises aren't enough.
It is not only important to Franklin County, it's important to every rural community across the United States.
Tuesday night's recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission will not be the final say in regard to these data centers in Franklin County. They will go to the County Commission for final approval. In Franklin County, Jordan Burrell, First Alert 4.